Across Nigeria and now Liberia, Farm Alert is redefining access to animal health, one community at a time. Too many communities lack access to affordable animal health services. Livelihoods are vulnerable. But change is happening. Farm Alert delivers efficient distribution, empowers veterinarians, trains communities, and expands access, starting from Nigeria to Liberia. From the hills of Taraba to the streets of FCT, our programs are empowering women and lives are being transformed. Through our Vetrepreneurship and Outlier programs, over 20 veterinarians have received grants and support to grow sustainable practices.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Adejuwon Adetola, the CEO founder Dr. Adetola Pet Care.
Hello viewers, my name is Dr. Asika Onyekachi Augustine, the founder of Fori Pulse Veterinary Health Care.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Pashamli Mumezetan and I'm the CEO of Vet Next Door Veterinary Services and Consultancy.
My name is Grace Manuel. I'm a veterinarian with a practice in the city of Abuja.
I'm one of the recipients of the Vet Entrepreneurship Award 2nd edition sponsored by Farm Alert. Since the time of the award, our monthly revenue has increased to 200% and that is the least we have ever done.
I want to appreciate the leadership of the NBMA and Farm Alert for the Vetpreneurship Award. We are able to take crucial early steps in our journey. We officially registered our business with the Corporate Affairs Commission, completed our branding, and began building a trusted identity within the community.
We started with 3 workers and we've been able to maintain that so far. And prior to the brand, I was able to I started rendering home services within the community, so that warranted me to want to have more, which the Vetpreneurship grant granted me that opportunity.
Farm Alert's input into our business, into our venture, has really helped us grow in leaps and bounds. We've been able to at least increase our ability to supply all the materials and items that our customers need by at least 4-fold compared to what we provided before now.
The award and products loan has moved my business from one corner in my room to a veterinary store. The veterinary brand Dr. Adetola Pet Care has impacted many lives by creating jobs and even especially the lives of pet owners by supplying pet products to at least 7 states in Nigeria, including Kano State, Katsina, Benin Kebbi, Abuja, Kogi State, and many others. We've had over 100 clients and customers within Kaduna and even outside.
While I'm still running my NYSC, we are able to expand our home service using part of the support we received. This led to over 30% increase in our client base, and we've added a new poultry farm to our consultation list.
We can walk into Farm Alert at any point in time, grab what we need, make our supplies and deliveries, get paid. Everyone is happy, our clients are happy, and we can boldly say that we are producing some of the happiest pets in the world from our consistency with service delivery.
My advice to the new awardees: invest in the growth of your business, brand, or career as a veterinary doctor. And remember, consistency is the key. Thank you once again, Farm Alert.
A word I have for the incoming cohort is know what you want and go for it. And give the community a reason to be proud of you with what you will be getting.
Thank you to NBMA and to Farm Alert for this great opportunity. We do not take it for granted. Thank you.
Now in Liberia, we're replicating success, supporting vets, creating access, and building a stronger West Africa. Together, we're building a future where no community is left behind. Farm Alert, transforming animal health, livelihoods, and lives. Across Nigeria and now Liberia, Farm Alert is redefining access to animal health, one community at a time. Too many communities lack access to affordable animal health services. Livelihoods are vulnerable. But change is happening. Farm Alert delivers efficient.
All right, so it's a pleasant afternoon, everyone. And so I'm transmitting live from Nigeria. And it's just about 2 p.m. And we have some very important guests in our midst. So let me, on behalf of everybody, my team, I work with Farm Alert. Farm Alert is an animal health company originating from Nigeria. But our goal is Pan-African, to be able to enable easy access to affordable animal health care across the continent. And let me say this at this junction, this is going to be our first episode. Our idea around these episodes that we're going to be holding twice every month is to pick success stories or figure out what advancement is happening in the African continent and spotlight it, with the hope that we could pick a clue from those advancements or those success stories and scale it across the African continent. I think it's time for the African continent to evolve beyond what it is. And the African continent holds an immense potential to do just that. So today is going to be our maiden show. As I said initially, we're going to be holding these twice every month, but I'm particularly very pleased, really very pleased to be having today's edition, because we have an amazing success story. Alone, we could go fast, but together we could go far. So there is a collaboration between the South African Veterinary Council. The Veterinary Council, I know this show is predominated by animal health professionals. So you understand that the veterinary councils are the statutory body that regulates the practice and, of course, the trainings of veterinarians in those various countries. So there's a landmark achievement, or maybe you allow me to use the word landslide achievement, because again, this is going to be the first time we are saying this. The South African Veterinary Council and the Namibian Veterinary Council signed a pact. And the pact was to ensure that there's cross collaborations between these two countries, and that veterinarians, animal health professionals across those two countries, South Africa and Namibia, will know no hurdle, no boundaries. And so it is my pleasure to bring up the stage. We have in today, and those are the people involved like directly in this landmark achievement. So the first person who will be inviting up stage and back end, if you do me well to bring them up, is the president of the South African Veterinary Council, Dr. Nandipha Ndudane. Now, I'm a Nigerian and I try as much as possible not to murder the South African's name. So please, the president of the South African Veterinary Council, can you? Fantastic. Yep. Another panelist is the director of education, also from the South African Veterinary Council, Leonie Westcott. Leonie Westcott, please help me bring her up. So the four people will be on stage. Then, of course, we will get them to introduce themselves by themselves, and then we'll go into. Thank you. Welcome, Leonie. The third person we'll be bringing up stage is the chairperson of the Namibian Veterinary Council, the chairperson, Dr. Anna Marais. Dr. Anna Marais. I think she's in the company of the Registrar, also fantastic. So we have Dr. Janeke Kirchner, Registrar, Namibian Veterinary Council. So we're super excited to have all of you on the stage, and I think it's a very rich meeting. And so let's start from the South African Veterinary Council, the president. Just a brief about yourself in a minute, then we'll go to the Director of Education, then we'll go to our Namibian counterpart. All right, good. Go ahead.
A good day, because I'm not sure what time it is because we're now global. Just to set the record straight, I'm no longer now the president as of the 1st of August. Our term ended and we're still awaiting the minister to pronounce on the next council. But because this was meant to have happened on the 30th of July, we agreed with the council that I must go ahead and still continue with the broadcast. I am Dr. Nandipha Ndudane, the former president of the South African Veterinary Council for the term 2022 that ended on 2025, 31st of July. Thank you. You wish me to continue?
All right, so you're back. So go ahead.
Oh, yes. Oh, I thought you wanted me to introduce myself first and
Yes,
allow
yes.
and Leonie
Exactly.
to do so.
So let's
Yes.
let's bring up the Director of Education, Leonie Westcott.
Good afternoon, everybody. The only thing I can be sure of, it's afternoon where you are and it's afternoon where we are, whether it's 2 or 3 o'clock. My name is Leonie Westcott. I'm the Director of Education at the Veterinary Council. I oversee all education-related matters for Council. We have a small division, but we do quite a lot of work, and it's a privilege to be here. I'm looking forward to the discussions. Thank you.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Westcott. So let's get our Namibian counterpart. First is the chairperson of the Namibian Veterinary Council. If you could just spare a minute to introduce herself, and then we'll get
Good
the registrar.
afternoon. My name is Anna Marais, and I am the current chairperson of the Namibian Veterinary Council. We were sworn into office by the Honourable Minister last year, so we have a number of years to go with the present council.
Fantastic. Thank you. So let's get the registrar.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Janeke Kirchner, and I'm the registrar for the Namibian Veterinary Council. And what that entails is that I am the executive officer tasked with carrying out all the resolutions of our council and its committees.
Fantastic. So I want to welcome 4 of you on board. And then because of our time, we'll just jump straight into the conversation. So let's get, our first question would be, you did something that hasn't been done before. And what we'd love to see is innovation within the African continent. Having to create a compact between you and the South African Veterinary Council. So tell us, chairperson, why? What's it about, and why did you have to do that?
Well, this initiative started a number of years ago. I think it was 2017, when the OIE at that stage, now the World Organization of Animal Health, but the OIE called the registrars and the deans of faculties in the SADC countries, of veterinary faculties, to meet together. We had 2 meetings, one in Johannesburg and one in Arusha, to try and harmonize veterinary councils and the standards and tertiary education of veterinary students. This has been spoken about for a long time, but it only actually came to a head recently in 2023 when the FAO approached the South African Veterinary Council to continue with this. And I think the South African counterparts can tell us a bit more about their side.
All right, so so don't let me use the word former president, but we still have you as a president in this show. So why did you do this, and what inspired your collaboration? So Backen, if you help us bring up her back to stage. Are you with us? Good.
Yes, it was assisted greatly by the two external organizations, the World Organization for Animal Health and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. The FAO approached the South African Veterinary Council following a benchmark study that they've done of the African veterinary statutory bodies across. And from that research, the SAVC was identified as one of the strongest statutory bodies in Africa. Then we were then tasked with visiting and doing a collaboration studies and strengthening the other VSBs in Africa together with a strategic partner that was also appointed by the FAO. In our visit to Namibia, which was led by our registrar, Mr. Menye, and the team, Leonie, Westcott for the education side, and Dinamari for the legal, and Mpo Mujonaga for the registration and CPD. They met with Namibia, and prior to that, there was a visit that Namibia did in South Africa to observe the SAVC and the visitation at the University of Pretoria. So we then strike a chord and realize that the standards at the NVC were much higher and at the university, and the conversation to engage on mutual recognition and reciprocity was then initiated. Leonie can then augment on the visit, because I was not part of the visit, but I was behind the scenes applauding that the visitation must happen.
All right, so we will get to Leonie shortly. But what were the gaps you envisaged you are going to bridge by having this agreement done with?
Okay, on our side in South Africa, there were two priorities. The first one, already as the South African Veterinary Council, we had a mutual recognition with the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons in UK, and also with the Australasian Veterinary Board Council, which encompasses New Zealand and Australia. We are therefore seeking to have a footprint in the African region where we share and operate and recognize each other's strengths. So that was priority number one for us at the SAVC, to have an African footprint. The second part, in South Africa, we have a dire shortage of veterinarians, and we've got Namibia, our neighbor, with good veterinary services, good biosecurity levels. That talks to a very strong veterinary council and a university. So we wanted to partner with them so that we're able to utilize their professionals to come across and assist in South Africa in terms of biosecurity and disease control, and therefore alleviating the issues of veterinary work shortage in South Africa.
All right. So, so from this conversation, I'm getting a sense that the Namibian Veterinary Council, it's maybe fairly okay with very strong protocols, and then maybe more veterinarians. I really can't say. I think the chairperson would need to help us answer that. So, chairperson, so why? You seem to have enough, and you seem to be doing so well. Why did you partner with the South African Veterinary Council?
Well, I think the
first thing that we must, the chairperson.
I think the first thing that we must clarify here is that one thing that stands in both the countries' favors is that our legislation, our veterinary legislation, is very well aligned. You have to have strong legislation, number one, to establish a veterinary council, and then that legislation must state what the functions of the council are. And what we discovered during that initial meeting is that our legislation is very well aligned with the South African Veterinary Council, and especially both of our methods of evaluating tertiary education systems, which is one of the main functions of the council, to register veterinarians, to accredit institutions. If an institution is accredited by the council, all the graduates from that institution get permission to practice in the country without having to write a board exam beforehand. If a veterinarian arrives from an unaccredited institution, both of our councils will expect that veterinarian to pass a board exam before they will be given permission and registered unconditionally to practice in the country. So this recognition shows that we have aligned our councils, our legislation, and very importantly, our education systems.
So you've aligned your legislation and then your training, but are there gaps you wanted to close, or are there challenges that require this very strong collaboration?
I don't think we identified any gaps in the legislation, but what we had to do was both councils had to satisfy themselves that the education, the tertiary education for veterinarians in each country was covered by our legislation. So another thing that is very strongly in our favor is that we both use the same guidelines, the same accreditation systems with 12 standards that we evaluate in the universities that we are auditing. So the Namibian Veterinary Council took part in an audit or an accreditation visitation at the University of Pretoria in South Africa, and the South African Veterinary Council sent a representative to take part in our council's audit of the University of Namibia School of Veterinary Medicine last year.
All right, so I'm happy to hear this shared value. Now to the Registrar, Namibian Veterinary Council. I want to ask, first of all, how many veterinarians do you have in Namibia? Then maybe, is it enough? Do you think it's enough? Do you think you have enough veterinarians? And then maybe 3 questions in one. If you share with us details of the agreement, what's contained in the agreement? We saw pictures, very nice picture of you sitting down on the table with the Registrar of the Veterinary Council for South Africa, and you were signing an agreement. So if you want to brief us on the details of those agreements, go ahead.
A briefing of all the agreement basically stipulates that both councils will assume the charge of doing an audit of the veterinary training institutions that are located in the respective countries, and that the reciprocal council will then accept the audit result or the results of that accreditation for either then accepting or withdrawing accreditation for that qualification for purposes of being registered in that country to practice a veterinary profession. So it speaks to both councils' trust in its counterpart to implement the accreditation process fairly, transparently, and strictly, so that the results can then be extrapolated and be used.
So how many vets do you have in Namibia, roughly?
Our register currently reflects 396 veterinarians that are registered. This includes not necessarily everyone who is currently practicing in Namibia, but that is the number of names that appears on our register. And with regard to the question of whether that is enough or not, that is always a difficult question to answer, because one has to understand the demographics in our country. Certainly, we don't have veterinarians that are sitting around on the streets. We have a number of new graduates that are attempting to start their own practices. Many of them are going into industry as well. And government services. And I think that our country is very well serviced by the number of vets that we have currently.
Oh, so happy to hear that. So let's get the Director of Education. So what do you think about the agreement? The President mentioned that you were part of the meeting. Let's hear your own side of the story.
Thank you very much. Just to mention that we have actually been working collaboratively with Namibian Council for a long time before we signed this agreement. We've always had a very good working relationship where we would touch base with each other. So I'm really delighted that we could formalize it in this way. We currently have approximately 3,800 veterinarians on our register. We do lose a number of veterinarians annually. Part of them will be leaving the country because of the reciprocity agreements mentioned by Dr. Ndudane with the Royal College in the UK, as well as the Australasian Veterinary Boards Council. We have looked at these agreements and asked ourselves, are we making it easy for veterinarians to leave? But we still think it's important to have the agreements in place. We serve on an international accreditors working group with the RCVS and the AVBC, where we share matters of visitations and accreditation and benchmark. So there's a lot of advantages that also come through these agreements. And obviously, it is something we will take forward. We will mention that we've now signed a first agreement with an African country and try and bring them into that platform as well, because I think it is important that we look at our neighbors and what we do in Africa. It's very different what they do in other parts of the world. There is we have advantages there, but it's important to focus on what is happening locally as well. So yeah, we are very excited about this agreement, and I think it's going to mean a lot for our country in terms of getting veterinarians from Namibia, where we can rest assured that the training is up to the standard that we would like it to be.
So I think what I find very interesting with this agreement, it's I think the African continent, if divided, is weaker. But if we work together and align our legislations or align the criteria for training our professionals, I think we will emerge a bit maybe stronger than what the outside world expect. A follow-up question: what do you think? So, what gap do you think, or what are the first three gaps do you think that this agreement is going to help cover, or what challenges will it resolve going forward in South Africa?
Well, as mentioned, we don't have enough veterinarians in the country. So, it would be great if people from Namibia choose to work in South Africa. Maybe we can chat to them as to the number of veterinarians that they produce in a year, and, whether there will be more than enough, because we don't want to take theirs, but we would like to take people that, are available to work here. And the same, it gives opportunities to our veterinarians this side to work in another country, and to do so without the need to sit and pass a board exam, because that is quite onerous. There's a lot of studying that goes into that. There's a lot of money that goes into that. So be able to move across a border without that is really something that I think, professionals would appreciate.
All right. So I'm just so super excited hearing about this and this cross-border collaboration. You don't have enough vets. Namibia seems to have fairly enough. Both have training institutes. You've aligned your legislations. You've aligned your training criteria. And then from going forward, I assume that a vet that finishes from the veterinary college in Pretoria will be able to go to Namibia without any exam and will be able to practice freely. Amazing. Really amazing. So what challenges do you envisage? So maybe let's get to Namibia and back again to the registrar. Let's start with the registrar, Dr. Kirchner. What challenges are you envisaging from this collaboration? Has it been all smooth, right? Sometimes when you cook up a new idea or a new innovation, it doesn't all kick off as we expect. I've been running business for 15 years, and sometimes you meet a lot of surprises. Maybe I should ask, what surprises have you met, if any? And what challenges?
Dr. Femi, I can fortunately say that so far there has been no challenges and no roadblocks that we have hit. We have been cautious about what has happened in the SAVC with their reciprocity agreement with overseas countries, and the fact that we might end up losing more vets than we would actually like. But at this point in time, the benefits of allowing Namibian graduates an additional option to expand their career, and in the same vein, provide professional care in South Africa in areas where it might be needed, outweighs that possible disadvantage for us. We cannot foresee, and under council discussion, we have not identified any potential challenge that might make us regret this agreement.
All right, so good to good to hear that. And then the beginning is usually the most difficult part. And if at this beginning stage you've not seen any very strong, because people resist change, but looks like this union is just overdue, and both councils are in love. So
yes,
we
I can reiterate what Ms. Westcott said, that our councils have been in the habit of working together for a number of years. And the reciprocity was sort of a natural next step for us, because we agree and we see eye to eye on so many levels. And the SAVC has also been integral in helping the NVC to develop certain parts of the accreditation process and so forth. So it was truly not something that only came about in the last year, but for a number of years.
And that's a very important discussion, really, because you cannot force a long-lasting relationship overnight. So something must have started building, and it's not something that can be rushed if it's going to last. So that is well understood. So let me go to the chairperson, then I go to the president of the South African Veterinary Council. So first of all, is there any within that region, because Namibia and South Africa are within the same region, is there any other council that you're having this type of relationship with? So how do we scale this? I'm trying to go into how do we scale this across the African continent?
We have had a good relationship with the Veterinary Council of Botswana for a number of years as well. And after their team came to visit our council a few years ago, they have accepted all graduates that are registered by the Namibian Veterinary Council to work in Botswana. But we don't have a formal agreement with them as we do with the South African Veterinary Council. But we have worked very closely with Botswana as well. I can just also add that before this agreement was signed, a number of Namibian qualified veterinarians went and wrote the South African board exam to allow them to practice in the country. And I think the good results that those graduates got was one of the confirmations that the South African Veterinary Council needed, that our education system is of sufficient quality for them.
Fantastic. Happy to hear that. So let me ask, what do you think the African continent needs to do going forward to work together? Because at the end of the day, yours is a good success story. Our business scaled into Liberia, and there was no single vet, a whole country, no vet. And I think the same story with other West African countries. And so we have an abundance of vets in a region. We have vets that are needed in an entire country. There's no one single vet. So from your experience, what would you advise? And I'll go to the president of South Africa shortly after this with the same question. You've done this successfully, but it's just only the beginning. South Africa and Namibia are two countries in the whole of Africa. So what will you advise? What do we need to do? There are countries here listening to you, and this will be scaled across all platforms. What's your advice? What do you think we need to be doing going forward to ensure that this can be scaled across the country, the continent?
Yes. I think something that both the South African Veterinary Council and the Namibian Veterinary Council agree on is that this must be taken forward. So my advice would be that two councils from two different countries have an initial meeting, they get together, we scrutinize each other's legislation, the functions of the council, the powers of the council, and then the next step would be to visit the tertiary education institutions and try and align our education standards. We would use the same guidelines that we have used for the visitations that we have done. And, you know, if there are some deficiencies or something that we can learn from, that is also very good. The first step, though, is to align the legislation.
And that's very important. And so, but again,
Yes.
I also like the point you raised. So if you're online, you could drop your questions. I can see some questions already coming in, and we're going to attend. That's why I want to quickly wrap up this first segment so that we can pick all your questions. I can see some questions already. But I think, Chairperson, the very brilliant point you raised is, so just visit. And if you want something, pay a visit to Namibia, pay a visit. Or are you adverse to people paying you a visit? If the president
yes, of
or
course.
chairperson
Yes.
of a veterinary council wants to come in, is your hand wide open?
Our council and the University of Namibia would welcome any visitors, without a doubt.
I'm happy to hear that. I think I already have a country I want to lead to Namibia, and I will be keeping in touch. So let's hear from the president of the South African Veterinary Council. You've done this, and we want to congratulate you for your time as the president. I think it was eventful, and I'm also very proud that it was during your time as the president that this landmark agreement was signed, the first of its kind in Africa. And we're very proud of your work. So, but again, we want you to share your experience. This has been done successfully. What do you think other veterinary councils can do to ensure that this is not just South African Namibia story, but an African story?
We have already started, Dr. Femi, and thank you very much. But as indicated, this started a long time ago. I was just fortunate and blessed that the signing was during my tenure. We have started working with FAO in forming a community of practice of veterinary statutory bodies. I believe Kenyan Veterinary Board is there. We've got Nigeria, and we've got Uganda, because FAO was working in these countries, but they are going to open it up to all the African veterinary statutory bodies so that we become part of something big and we work collaboratively together towards building an African unity. Secondly, we have been approached by the ODEM in Mozambique, their statutory body, and they invited me to attend their congress, I think 2 years ago, and I found very efficient, well-run veterinary statutory body, and I met also the dean of the university there. So we want to continue with that relationship. South African Veterinary Council was also invited by the Kenyan board to be part of the strategic planning session of the board. Our director legal, Dina Marais, attended the session. I think it was a 2-day session virtually. And we've also been part of the collaboration with Nigeria Veterinary Council. I think I was invited to be part of the panel for their education CPD conference or workshop that I think you were there, Dr. Femi. And again, we also we have had some meetings. So I think the incoming council is going to continue with those collaborative efforts because there is still continuity. Ms. Westcott is here and Mongezi, the registrar, is here, and all the people that are the management of the SAVC, and then the new council will then continue with those efforts. So we really need to work together as Africa to build something stronger and something that has impact. So for me, that's what I believe in.
So happy to hear that. So we're expecting that your compact, the agreement signed between you and the Namibian, will be like a springboard for other African countries. I see a lot of questions already, but please allow me ask the registrar of the South African Veterinary Council maybe a much more final question, at least from my own end, then the registrar of the Namibian Veterinary Council. Then we can now take the loads of questions we see. The Namibian Veterinary Council said they only have an hour, so we will get this wrapped up within an hour. But so far, it's been an engaging conversation, and we cannot but be happy with this spark of innovation that we've seen between both councils. But understand, to all our audience, this doesn't happen overnight, but relationships are built, legislations are aligned, which is very important. It's very important. The ethics, the culture, the animal health ethics has to be the same across board, and then that can allow our borders to really be borderless. The Registrar, South African Veterinary Council, what do you think? What are the long-term aspirations of this agreement? You have quite a handful of vets. You need more vets. Will you set up more schools in Namibia? What do you think? Where do we go from here? What are the future aspirations?
Well, I assume you've been the registrar of the Namibian Veterinary Council, as my South African counterpart is not here. We currently don't have any aspirations of opening up another vet school. As certainly with the University of Namibia, it seems to meet the need of our country quite sufficiently at the moment. What I would like to envision for the future is to extend this collaboration with the South African Veterinary Council to include veterinary paraprofessionals, because I think that is another area where collaboration can hold much benefit for both our countries. And I think that is something that we will pursue for the future.
Fantastic. And I think there's a global push for veterinary paraprofessionals to find expression within the veterinary council context. And that would be an interesting part. So from the Namibian counterpart, what do you think? What's the future of this collaboration? What's it looking like?
I'm not sure who the question's directed to.
Yes, so the Registrar of the Namibian Veterinary Council, Dr. Kirchner.
Okay.
Yes.
No, it's like I said, we would like to extrapolate this to the future for the incorporation of our veterinary paraprofessionals.
Oh, so that's an aligned. So your legislations are aligned, your trainings are aligned. Now your aspirations are also aligned. So it means there's going to be a longer working relationship between both of you. We're proud, we're inspired, and this time around, I'm just going to be picking some questions. So if I don't get to answer all your questions, I can send an email to both councils, and then we will get it. So somebody said, can Nigerian veterinary? So I told you bulk of it. So we have 11 veterinary schools in Nigeria. We have over 11,000 vets. So I can imagine, can Nigerian veterinary officer practice in either? So maybe we should get the president to sign, right? So let me allow you answer. Can a Nigerian veterinary officer be allowed to practice in South Africa or in Namibia? So let's pick South Africa first. Can I, as a vet, so I'm a vet licensed in Nigeria, can I just come to South Africa and start practicing without any agreement?
Not unfortunately. They have to sit the board exams, and Leonie will advise and direct them what is it that they need to do, because we need to get a hold of the curriculum of the institution they studied in and audit and analyze to see where are the areas that, if there are any gaps, where we will advise maybe the candidate to prepare for the exams, to say then there's this gap that we've identified and please prepare, and then they have to undergo our examination. And depending on the stages of the examination, because we also have a practical and we have a computer-based part and we have the jurisprudence, but depending on what is in the policy, then the person can proceed and then pass. But sometimes you might not finish, because if you need to pass each and every portion of those exams and get a certain sub-minimum to proceed to the next.
All right, so
no, you can't directly come and practice without being subjected to the board exams. Unlike our Namibian counterpart now, and us in Namibia, we can now just move across and freely and as veterinarians.
See what I mean? So that's the beauty of the agreement you signed. Unfortunately, Nigerians, you have to come to South Africa, write exams, and you have to pass before you're allowed to practice. Leonie, say something in that regard also.
Yes, I can
I'm
say
just
before.
No, sorry, Dr. Marais, proceed.
All right, good. Can we
Sorry, I
come
was
to
just going to
Namibia?
comment that it's exactly the same in Namibia, unless the tertiary education institution has been accredited in our country, which means we have been on a visitation to the tertiary education establishment, to the university, and it's accredited. Unless that has happened, an individual person would be subjected to a board exam in Namibia as well.
Right. So I think that's crystal clear. Somebody is saying a young aspiring veterinarian applying to work. So again, if you're applying to work, you have to come write an exam in both countries before and pass, really, not just write exam and pass before you're allowed to practice. So can the agreement be
Very
expanded?
important distinction.
Well, yes, but the veterinary council in question, we need to take a step towards visiting both councils to learn and then to align legislations and then, of course, the criteria for training. Is there any way veterinary from vet, if you want to go? So I'm going to summarize all these questions of coming to South Africa or coming to Namibia. So you have to write an exam. So I'm going to be skipping those questions. So does this cooperation exist in other regions of Africa like we do? So we said this is the first of its kind in Africa. And that's the beautiful story about this. And that's why, so we are spotlighting what's just possible, what's possible. So this is possible. And I think more will come following this success story. So is the agreement only directed to veterinarians or is it also open to other veterinary? I think they've answered that. It's just veterinarian. Okay, so let me not be so sure. I'm assuming it's just veterinarians and no paraprofessionals.
That's correct, yes.
Correct? Just veterinarians. Am I correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yes, you're correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So what's the possibility of having a private veterinary school in Namibia by a foreign investor? Now, this is a serious question.
Okay.
An investor wants to have a private veterinary school in Namibia. I don't know how to answer that question. So over to you, Namibia.
Okay, it would of course be possible for anyone that wants to open a business in Namibia to open a private or to establish a private veterinary school. However, our council would have to be involved from the start. I think the registrar can comment.
Yes, the council will have to be involved from the inception process, evaluating the curriculum, and this will not be embarked on without due diligence being paid to a feasibility study of whether this will help our country or actually hamper what we need.
All right, so dear investor, you need to come pay a visit to the Veterinary Council in Namibia or South Africa, as the case may be, and then learn the ropes before you throw in your money. Somebody's saying, what's the cost of the board exam in South Africa and Namibia?
Leonie can take that one for us.
Okay, in Namibia.
Go for it, Leonie. Go, Leonie.
So maybe let's start with the South African cost, then we'll go to the Namibian cost.
I stand to be corrected, but it's around 32,000 Rand for a veterinarian to sit the board exam.
32,000. So that's going to be how much in dollars? I need to come back. But again, 32,000 and you sit and you're good to go. So for the Namibian Veterinary Council, what's like the average cost? I think somebody's planning.
For the Namibian Veterinary Council, it is 21,000 Namibian dollars. Our Namibian dollar is equivalent to the South African rand.
Oh, right.
That is
so
for foreign veterinarians. It is a lot cheaper for Namibian citizens who have studied outside our country and want to come back and practice here. It is cheaper to write the exam.
All right. So if you're a foreign veterinarian and you want to write an exam in Namibia, it's around 21,000 Namibian dollars. Am I correct?
Yes,
or it's cheaper if you're in Nigeria, if you're a Namibian citizen. Somebody is asking, as the president of Veterinary Council of SA, what's the step of conducting the exam? Okay, so maybe just a brief, and I think let's so I think your interest. I was hoping that this will spur veterinary councils to collaborate more, but I think from the question, we're spurring more vets wanting to come to South Africa and Namibia to practice. So let's take Westcott first, the director of education. So just a brief step. So if you're a foreign veterinarian and you want to come to South Africa, what are the steps, brief steps that you will take, and or the exam? I think we mentioned that, but just briefly, then we'll go to the
Sure.
Namibian Council.
Sure. All the information is on our website if persons are interested in looking at it, but I can just summarize that there is an application form that needs to be completed, and then there's also a checklist that will outline everything that needs to be submitted. So it's, completion of the application form, it's the payment of the fee, there's a clear copy of your ID, the assessment of the qualification, a police clearance certificate, a letter of good standing. We have a local body, the South African Qualifications Authority, that will evaluate qualifications to see on what national qualification level it is. So we need a SAQA certificate. So it's meeting all those requirements. And then if the person is then accepted, they will sit the theory exam, as Dr. Ndudane mentioned. We do it computer-based, and the person has to pass that component of the examination before they will proceed to a practical component. And once they've passed the practical component, the veterinarian will then be expected to perform an ovariohysterectomy. And that's actually one of the things that we have learned from our colleagues in Namibia, because they've actually used that as part of their examination before we've started using it. So this has really been a collaborative effort, long before we even signed this agreement.
All right, so you heard that you will also be asked to perform surgery. So you better be ready with your money and then with your skills. So let's hear from the Registrar Namibian Veterinary Council.
The process is very similar to the process of the SAVC. We start with every graduate or applicant that has a qualification that has not been evaluated for compliance to the minimum standards of training as a veterinarian according to our legislation. Then that qualification or that candidate will first need to provide our education committee with a validated prospectus so that the committee can verify that that qualification from that veterinary institution actually meets the minimum standards. Only when that has been assured will the candidate then be allowed to attend the council veterinary examinations, which is set almost exactly the same as the SAVC. Our theory section is not computer-based though. We still have a manual theory section, but you need to pass the theory section in order to progress to the practical component. And then after the practical component is passed, then you also progress to do a surgery as the final step in the exam. And once all those 3 steps have been completed and you are successful, then the candidate may apply with an application form that also has a checklist on with the exact same requirements as the SAVC, police clearance, testimonials and things like that. And then that person can then apply to be registered in Namibia.
That works. Fantastic. So I want to quickly bring up somebody upstage, maybe a surprise appearance. So I worked also at the Veterinary Council for 5 years. So I was a member of the Veterinary Council board in Nigeria as the youngest member of the board then. So our tenure was for 5 years and it finished early part of this year. And I served under a president, AIG Aishatu. She's still a member of the Veterinary Council board. And she made several attempts with the South African Veterinary Council also. I see that you're smiling, President. So please can you bring up AIG Aishatu to just add a voice to this conversation, and then I will go probably like the last set of questions, and then we'll be off this conversation. Nigeria has a robust veterinary base, 11 veterinary schools really. and then over 11,000. Is AIG at the backstage? Can you bring her on board? I work with her as the chairman of the ICT and publicity for the council for those 5 years. Oh, I'm not sure we can see her upstage. Is she up? Right. Okay, so I think she's in motion. So, Madam President, please allow me to call you Madam President. Good to have you. So
thank you very much, Femi. Oh, hello, Nandi. Hello, good to see you, Nandi.
So
Good
a
to
lot
see
of
you too.
a lot of Nigerians are on this call, and I think bulk of the question is they want to come to Namibia or come to South Africa to practice. Unfortunately, as it stands now, they have to pay and they have to pass their exams. But we're looking at those steps you made and how do you think we could take this going forward? I think we would love to sign that agreement, maybe next 1, 2 years or 3 years, but sign an agreement with South Africa and Namibia and have this cross-border collaboration. It would be a beautiful thing. So want just you to state what you did and then where the stage is now and what we need to go going forward, probably in a minute.
Thank you very much, Femi. Fantastic, honestly, fantastic idea for bringing up my good friend Nandi and the president of Namibia. I've not met you before, but I think this is a great thing for me and also for us here in Nigeria. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this is the way forward. I strongly believe in regional integration, in reciprocity. And for me, it's not just about Namibia and South Africa alone. I really want to see a day whereby we have this African regional integration, whereby we have a very seamless one platform, one regulatory framework. It will bring a lot of ease for even trade, disease control, and so many other things, regional collaboration. And I think that's the way to go about collaboration. We've spoken about that, Nandi. I initiated, myself and Nandi initiated a conversation. We had initial meeting with the Veterinary Council of Nigeria and the South African Veterinary Council. And we even set up a small team that will be able to work together so that we'll see how we can initiate that reciprocity. But then I remembered when we met in Kenya, we were talking about African regional collaboration, regional regulatory framework whereby all of us will work together harmoniously, and I can easily walk to South Africa and get a job without writing an exam. I know it's a large thing because of our population, or maybe the population of universities in Nigeria, about 11 universities, and I think 2 more are coming up. But congratulations, South Africa and Namibia. I think you set the ball rolling for us, and we should be able to key into it. I'm still excited that we should be able to do to have an expanded version of this. What is happening? What is happening between South Africa and Namibia? Nandi, I'm still open. I'm still in the council, and I'm still open for us to take it to the next step, whereby we see that African regional integration in terms of regulation and other activities, even capacity building, where we have our continuing education programs together. That builds a lot of team work, team spirits within the African continent. Well done, Farmalad. Well done, Femi, for this great job that you are doing. And I tell you, Nandi and Namibia, that this particular issue of regional integration, reciprocity, is what actually motivated me to come back to council and contested again to be a member of the council to see how I could push it along. But then now I'm not the president. So the president has to key into the thought, but I believe he also have that thinking. We'll still carry on with the talk. But specifically, this is the reason why I'm back to the council, just to pursue this African regional integration. Thank you.
So you could see. So again, I worked with her for 5 years, and she bettered this idea that Africa can really do well if we are together. And I've not
Together,
really
yes.
lessons, and I look forward to seeing more of this agreement and see how the continent can move forward with all our expertise combined in one basket. So I have one very last question across board. The animal veterinarians are the heart of animal health across Africa. And so if we're better, the animal health system will be better. If we lag behind, the animal health system will also lag behind. But again, I want to spend this last 5 minutes to spark up hope. First of all, maybe let's start from South Africa, the president of South Africa Veterinary Council. Is there hope for Africa? Can we move beyond this? Just two countries signing this agreement to multiple countries signing the agreement, but more so, can we improve the so Nigeria still imports, still import. So regardless of the numbers, there's still a lot of dependency on the outside country. Uh, Do we have hope? Can we be a better country?
Yes, we can. We can be better countries, as indicated by the registrar from Namibia. For South Africa and Namibia, the second step is to now look into the veterinary paraprofessionals and ensure that we bring them on board on our agreement. So that is number one for us here. But as indicated also by the collaboration and the countries we visited, we are looking beyond the two countries. And I am serving in the World Veterinary Association representing Africa. My task there is to actually form a federation of African veterinary associations, like similarly to the international countries in Asia. So in that, again, we're trying to bring Africa together. So there is hope, and we need to collaborate and work together and look and utilize each other's strengths. I was also very impressed with the Nigerian Veterinary Council digitization, and we are copying you. The way you are, you can be able to assess and click the particulars of a registry through a phone. So you are able to know Dr. Femi Kayote as practicing here and the registration number. That is actually from you guys. And in South Africa, we told them we need to be at that stage where we're able to assure the public that they are being served by professionals that are registered and that are regulated.
All right. So I led through the president AIG Ashitu. I was part of the committee that led that project. So I offer my service free. If you want any advice at any time, call me, and I'll be there to help out, including the technology also. And I think that would be a very good way to go. I'm not supposed to pick any questions, so I'm going to ask you two questions, Leonie, in one, because I saw a question that I think, so can a student, how easy, do you have to write an exam before a student joins your university, or can a foreign student, how easy is it to integrate a foreign student in your system rather than being trained in another place? But I want to start from your accredited university to study veterinary medicine and also practice. Is that going to be easy? Then finally, is there hope for the African continent?
You can apply to the University of Pretoria. Any student can apply. They do have a number of foreign students. Obviously, there are limited spaces because they train, South Africans first, but there are places for international students. So it would be best to contact the University of Pretoria directly and speak to the admissions division and just ask them how to go about that. And yes, I definitely believe there is hope. I think if we're working together, like we've been working together, there definitely is a bright future. I just wanted to mention that we are in the process of setting up a second veterinary faculty in South Africa. It's nowhere near your 11, but we are looking into it. We've got a number of schools that are interested, and we have been assisting them by sharing the standards of training with them. And I just wanted to use this platform to formally thank Namibia and specifically Dr. Marais who's been incredibly helpful in assisting schools. She's been sharing her experience and her knowledge with them selflessly, and we really, really appreciate that. This is such a good example of how to help each other. I really am grateful for that. Thank you very much.
That's so heartwarming. Chairperson, Namibian Veterinary Council, you've been helpful. Maybe we should invite you to Nigeria. Would you like to come?
I would love to come, of course.
So I think I will make that move. I will discuss with our president. So why are you this? Two questions in one also. So why are you this helpful, and is there hope for the African continent?
I think there's definitely hope for the African continent. You know, we have just scratched the surface now of trying to see what's going on in all the different countries. And I think there is so much untapped potential. You know, it's not good to have all your veterinarians in one country having studied at your own institution. There is so much expertise and knowledge that can come from different experiences. And that is what we would like to see in both our countries, I think. Yes, we have been collaborating with a number of schools from South Africa and elsewhere that are hoping to start from scratch and the way we did in Namibia. And of course, it's open. Anyone is welcome to visit us, and we will share whatever we can with these colleagues.
I will sure pay a visit, but I also work on you visiting Nigeria also. I will be at the heart of that. Registrar, you are the heart of implementation. You are the heart of implementation. You ensure that a good signed agreement also works. And I know there's an enormous tax on your table. Are you discouraged? Or there's a lot of, sometimes work can really be overwhelming. So I'm assuming not overwhelmed, but I need to ask directly if you're overwhelmed. And then, is there hope for the African continent? Can we scale this from the internal workings of this agreement? Do you think this is something that can move beyond what South African has achieved to Kenya, to Nigeria, and particularly about Nigeria? I really want it to happen. So what do you think? Is there hope?
Yes, Dr. Femi, definitely. There's always hope. And as long as the end goal remains the same, then there is no reason why collaboration should not be possible across other borders and not just the Namibian South African border. Implementation and of this agreement, luckily, I also have a very good team in my council, and our protocols and systems are well in place. So for us, it's not the mountain on my shoulders. I experience it at all.
All right, so you have a very good team. And that's so heartwarming. How do I start saying thank you? We were looking forward to this. We wanted to do this on the 30th. All of you were flexible enough to come together and also choose today. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful session. You've encouraged, I think, the African continent. I think when people see more success story, two things rises: hope, but more importantly, what also rises is an example to do more. Because if we see yours working, then there's every possibility that the connection between Nigeria, maybe even West Africa, you're in South African region, maybe even starting from West Africa, it can also work. And that's the biggest thing we got from this conversation. I want to thank you, because you're still the president, maybe, of the South African Veterinary Council. Thank you for showing up, and it's always a pleasure. Thank you, Westcott, Director of Education. I can assure you, you will have some more applications from Nigerians. Maybe you just give me a message. If anyone comes from Nigeria, then I can invariably let you know, okay, accept this, don't accept this. But again, that's just on the lighter side. To our strong council, Namibian Veterinary Council, I think what permeated the entire conversation is how helpful you've been. And I think Nigeria should also pick a clue and also learn from your council how strong and how impactful you've been. And it's my hope that when we call you to Nigeria, you'll be able to oblige our request. But we want to say thank you for coming, and to everyone, to all our audience. This is going to be the next show will be from somebody from Tanzania, the Director of Veterinary Services. We're going to learn how their export system work. So it's going to be a bi-monthly show, twice a month, but we're going to be inviting people, groundbreaking agreements like we've just seen, the first of its kind, or innovations across the African continent with just one goal in mind: to scale success. And so I'm Coyote, and I will always be your host. And if you need to reach out, please reach out to us through our emails, or you can connect with us with any of our LinkedIn, from LinkedIn, or if you want us to share our numbers, definitely we will be able to share that with you. Let's keep being together and let's keep growing together. So thank you from me, all the way from Nigeria. Thank you, our panelists, and it's a wonderful afternoon from here. Thank you and enjoy your afternoon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Across Nigeria and now Liberia, Farm Alert is redefining access to animal health, one community at a time. Too many communities lack access to affordable animal health services. Livelihoods are vulnerable. But change is happening. Farm Alert delivers efficient distribution, empowers veterinarians, trains communities, and expands access, starting from Nigeria to Liberia. From the hills of Taraba to the streets of FCT, our programs are empowering women and lives are being transformed. Through our Vetrepreneurship and Outlier programs, over 20 veterinarians have received grants and support to grow sustainable practices.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Adejimo Adetola, the CEO founder Dr. Adetola Pet Care.
Hello viewers, my name is Dr. Asika Onyekachi Augustine, the founder of Fori Pulse Veterinary Health Care.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Pasham Limumezetan and I'm the CEO of Vet Next Door Veterinary Services and Consultancy.
My name is Grace Manuel. I'm a veterinarian with a practice in the city of Abuja.
I'm one of the recipients of the Vet Entrepreneurship Award 2nd edition sponsored by Farmalat. Since the time of the award, our monthly revenue has increased to 200% and that is the least we have ever done.
I want to appreciate the leadership of the NVMA and Farmalat for the Vetpreneurship Award. We are able to take crucial early steps in our journey. We officially registered our business with the Corporate Affairs Commission, completed our branding, and began building a trusted identity within the community.
We started with 3 workers and we've been able to maintain that so far. And prior to the brand, I was able to I started rendering home services within the community. So that warranted me to want to have more, which the Vetpreneurship grant granted me that opportunity.
Farmalat's input into our business, into our venture, has really helped us grow in leaps and bounds. We've been able to at least increase our ability to supply all the materials and items that our customers need by at least 4-fold compared to what we provided before now.
The award and products loan has moved my business from one corner in my room to a veterinary store. The veterinary brand Dr. Adetola Pet Care has impacted many lives by creating jobs and even especially the lives of pet owners by supplying pet products to at least 7 states in Nigeria, including Kano State, Katsina, Benin Kebbi, Abuja, Kogi State, and many others. We've had over 100 clients and customers within Kaduna and even outside.
While I'm still running my NYSC, we are able to expand our home service using part of the support we received. This led to over 30% increase in our client base, and we've added a new poultry farm to our consultation list.
We can walk into Farmalat at any point in time, grab what we need, make our supplies and deliveries, get paid. Everyone is happy, our clients are happy, and we can boldly say that we are producing some of the happiest pets in the world from our consistency with service delivery.
My advice to the new awardees: invest in the growth of your business, brand, or career as a veterinary doctor. And remember, consistency is the key. Thank you once again, Farmalat.
A word I have for the incoming cohort is know what you want and go for it. And give the community a reason to be proud of you with what you will be getting.
Thank you to NBMA and to Farmalat for this great opportunity. We do not take it for granted. Thank you.
Now in Liberia, we're replicating success, supporting vets, creating access, and building a stronger West Africa. Together, we're building a future where no community is left behind. Farmalat, transforming animal health, livelihoods, and lives. Across Nigeria and now Liberia,